Good evening and welcome to Mountain Bears. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course, I'm with the Techy with Mostest. Have you at the best? Techy Joe, how are you, honey?
I'm doing well. How are you this evening?
Trying not to take over the world one shark brain at a time.
I know, right?
Uh-huh.
Which is the weirdest sentence out of this week from Second Life.
It is not the weirdest sentence out of Second Life.
Oh, I mean this week. I'm not saying for all time. I'm just saying this week.
I know, right?
Yeah. I don't think we have any weirder ones for this week.
I don't know. I de-rendered a water. I returned a waterfall, but I don't think that's weird. I kind of say that often when I get tired of stuff.
Oh, yeah. That works. That works.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Hello, Devin. I'm sorry you're sick, honey. Get you some chicken soup and just settle in. It takes about 2 weeks to recover from this shit.
Yeah. It seems to be the same thing going around to everyone, and it sucks.
Yes.
So, hey, Brenda. Hey, Shannon.
Is everybody? Hope you're evil, at least as much as you can be. So I ran across a story, and I'm really resisting. And I do mean resisting because there's a number of addresses I have. So let's talk about this.
All right, so looking to get back at your ex, the Minnesota Zoo would like to help. If you have someone in your life who really bugs you, zoo staff have a solution. The Minnesota Zoo would like to help you with that. If you donate $15 to the Minnesota Zoo Foundation before midnight on February 14th, zoo staff will name a bug after whomever you wish and feed them to the golden lion tamarins, chameleons, possums, turtles, or other animals. The zoo will send an e-card and message personalized to your liking to the recipient to tell them that a bug has been named after them. If you are interested in participating, there is a link to click. But if you are spending your Valentine's Day in love, the zoo is also celebrating Zoo After Hours for adults on February 15th from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. Bring your loved one or a group of friends, and you can enjoy alcoholic beverages, sea lion talks, love tours, and a silent disco by the aquariums. So yeah, those have ticket prices for $10 for members, $15 for non-members, and $20 at the door. It is an 18+ event. But yeah, so the bug thing.
Uh-huh.
We all know there's going to be a lot of bugs with the same name.
I just think it's interesting. There are, you can get a list. I have a list of people that bug me daily.
It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Like, I read the title and I went, oh God, the Minnesota Zoo is going to ship poop. They're going to ship poop. They're going to ship poop. I know they're going to ship poop.
Is that still an option?
No, that's inappropriate. The United States Postal Service has had enough of y'all shit. I said what I said.
Actually, it's called shitexpress.com.
Oh no, I love that. I really love that. Name a bug, get it fed to to an animal. That was pretty cool.
Oh, but they only accept Bitcoin.
What?
It's $16.95. We'll ship worldwide.
Oh! Get off the shipping shit. Stop shipping shit.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
It can be useful.
The Minnesota Zoo does appear to take normal payments.
Ah.
So, there's that.
There's that. Apparently, a few humane societies are spaying and neutering for donation, like that Valentine's special. Cut your ex off. Now
Fair.
that's cord cutting I can get behind.
I'm down for it. I'm down for it. I think these are lovely promotions to really generate some funds, have a little fun, and I think most people will take it in stride.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that's of all the things one could do, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember, do not violate any court orders.
Yes.
Please be careful with that. If you have if someone has an order of protection and you are not allowed to communicate with them, this would be considered harassment. Do keep that in mind.
And also remember federal guidelines on shipping. Everything must be contained.
Stop shipping shit. That especially violates court orders, but I was meaning on the bug thing. Do keep in mind, because they receive an email notification, that is technically going to be a problem. So don't violate your court orders. Oh, nice. Our local animal shelter will put your ex's name in a cat litter pan for a few bucks. Oh, and there's sending a bag of dicks or a bag of ducks. Is it a bag of dicks or is it a bag of ducks? Maybe a little bit of both. All right, I think your mic has quit picking up, honey. Yes, so he'll be back in just a second. Devin says, I have an ex that hates clowns. I've thought of putting a clown doll in his mailbox. Yeah, let's not. I mean, depending. Oh, yeah, Aeson saying you don't put it in the mailbox. You personally do not put it in the mailbox. Yeah, no, there is a fine line between having a sense of humor and harassing people. So be careful, play nice. Oh, it is a bag of dicks, says Brenda. She got censored by autocorrect. Don't you hate when that happens? It's never a bag of ducks. It's never a bag of ducks. No one is ever going to tell you to suck a bag of ducks. Ever. So Aeson says he would love to send a bag of ducks to somebody. Oh. No, don't throw it in the yard. That is littering. Please don't throw the clown in the yard. He is working to get everything back in order. Sorry about the inconvenience, y'all. It just sometimes happens. It's a long day with headsets around here. Okay, so he's trying to find another headset that wants to work. Hang in there, guys. We'll have this straightened out in just a minute. It is frustrating. Oh, Devin's laughing. Yeah, no, don't. No. Oh, makes a note to order a big bag of mini rubber duckies and send to Aeson. There you go. It'll be the first step in getting his Jeep, I think. All right, we're just waiting for his headset to connect. We know this one should be working. Almost. You don't have mic. Oh, you're muted. That's why. There you go.
All right. I think I'm back.
Yes, you're back. Yay.
Wonderful. Y'all guys get to hear the DJ voice.
Yes, it is what the DJ headset sounds like. Oh, cool. So Devin says, side note, my daughter makes mini rubber duck earrings.
Oh, how cute. How cute. Brenda, wait till I get the Jeep. We're in the process of me finding a Jeep that I want, because I don't know. A lot of the Jeeps don't look like Jeeps, so that's an issue. But back up to the clown issue.
Back up to the clown issue. Okay.
All right, so this is what you do. You go and you order a clown. You have it shipped to his address as a gift on Amazon with a fictitious name like Miss Clown at 123 Webster Road, Oak Hill, West Virginia, 25901. It's untrackable.
Except it's going to be attached to an Amazon order and a credit card.
Yeah, there's ways to do this. One is a prepaid card. Either that or you bribe your local florist, because they will deliver.
You know, florists are surprisingly aggressive people.
Mm-hmm.
They are. I did not realize that till I volunteered for the hospital, but they will get a little aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the person you expect to be aggressive.
Right.
Brenda points out prepaid cards are perfect for things like this. And you know, I'm sure somewhere out there's got to be a send a clown.
Right.
Not to mention, you know, there are entertainment services for parties and events. You can hire a clown. And again, people you don't expect to be aggressive, if you tell them what's going on up front, they may actually do it for a discount. I'm just saying. I'm not guaranteeing. I'm just saying.
Lovely address. Oh,
sendclown.com. There we go. Nice. But no, if you are going to do something, you know, a little, you know, aggressive, do make sure, if you're sending a real person for an entertainment service, do make sure they are clear on the situation. Because it's a far different experience to show up knowing you might get punched than it is to think you're showing up to a legitimate party and get punched. Just saying.
Right.
There's the Shannon wave.
Hello, Shannon. Nice to see you, darling.
But yes. All right. So moving right along. Let's see. So Apple's newest iPhone feature will likely fly under the radar next week. So by the way, so if you're an Apple user, we did just have 18.3 drop. That was last Friday night. And this should be 18.4 that's dropping. So yeah. So Apple is expected. So Apple is expected to announce its new iPhone SE next week, and the feature list looks compelling. But like previous SE models, almost all of the new iPhone's tech has been seen before, except for one new feature, and it's likely to fly under the radar. Here's why. iPhone SE4 will show Apple's dedication to controlling the full tech stack. Apple has a reputation for wanting to control its full technology stack. The company builds hardware, software, and services so the three can together create a seamless experience. And for hardware specifically, Apple designs its own chips rather than farming them out. This has long been the practice for iPhones and iPads, but only started with the Mac in 2020, and Macs have benefited tremendously. That's not exactly true.
Okay.
See, I want to fix this because I think there's a generation, and this may be part of the author, or they just for brevity didn't go there. So there was a long duration that Mac made its own hardware before, including chips. Then there was a brief period where they tried to use Intel to create chips and have that compatibility across hardware. Intel and Apple did not get along. That all blew up, and then Apple went back to creating its own chips. So just saying.
Right.
So for years, there's been another piece of hardware Apple has sought to bring in-house: cellular modems. Right now, Qualcomm makes all of Apple's 5G modems for iPhones and iPads. But starting with the new iPhone SE4, the years-long project to build an Apple-designed modem will finally see the light of day. The new iPhone SE will be the first Apple device to feature an in-house 5G chip. But despite finally reaching the finish line of a lengthy project, Apple isn't likely to draw much attention to the new feature. So why will this fly under the radar? Cellular connectivity is an essential attribute of any iPhone. So while on one hand, Apple will no doubt celebrate its big achievement of replacing Qualcomm in its latest iPhone, this is also just the first step down a new path. So for 2025, this first 5G modem won't support mmWave, has reduced download speeds compared to Qualcomm's, and 4 carrier aggregation rather than 6. In 2026, however, a second modem should offer feature parity with Qualcomm's, and in 2027, Apple expects to actually top Qualcomm's performance. Apple will almost certainly mention its in-house modems in the iPhone SE4 announcement, but if it's more than just a passing nod, it would be surprising. So yeah.
Yeah. So we're not buying you another iPhone to 27.
Well, see, here's the thing. Here's what we have to watch out for, and it's kind of Apple's thing. This is why I can't really get behind the iPhone SE product line.
Right.
It is because it is inferior hardware.
Right.
In some regards, it's just rebranding their flagship with a smaller screen.
Mm-hmm.
In other cases, it becomes their dump everything that we're experimenting with into this device, which is what they're doing here.
Right.
Because they don't expect the SE product line to actually have longevity. Like you buy the flagship, you expect to get a few years and resellability. And so even when this iPhone 17 comes out, the iPhone 14, the iPhone 15 may still be very relevant. That they're still getting updates. They're still getting, they still have value. They're still phones that people can buy and use and be very happy with.
Right.
The SE is kind of, it really is just the inferior product line, where they just kind of go play around, and it's like, well, it's kind of cheap, relatively, to the flagship of the moment. So they're like, there's no plan for these to be resold. There's no plan for these to really last more than a couple of years. And it Apple's taking some flack for their SEs. It's a lower price point, so it lets people get in that may not always have the ability to buy the flagship. And it can be great. If you don't need a lot of features, you don't need a lot of, you just want an iPhone. Right. That's it. That's all you want. I just want an iPhone. And you don't need the best camera. You don't need the best speed. You don't need the best whatever. It's not always the worst thing in the world. But it does come at a cost, which is very much kind of attitude that Apple takes with their hardware, which is, you bought the inferior product, we're going to use you as a guinea pig.
Mhm.
You bought the inferior product, you're not entitled. Like, because these are also going to be the least repairable phones. They're going to be the ones you take that into the Apple store. They're just probably going to tell you to buy a new one.
Right.
Like, they're not going to agree to replace the screen. They're not going to agree to replace your battery. Chunk it and buy a new one. This is the disposable iPhone.
Well, and then Samsung is apparently dropping a phone in January, because I've been getting text notices that I'll get $500 off if I upgrade to the next Note or whatever this line I'm in is.
Yeah, it's the S25, I believe, that's getting ready to drop. So there's that phone coming out. There's another phone though I've seen floating around. And I'm trying to remember the manufacturer on it, and I think it may be one that's just not going to be available to us. So everyone's gotten into or is starting to get on the bus of foldable phones.
Right.
Now we have, Hawaii Mate has released the Trifold. It is a triple fold screen. So it actually opens out to like a full tablet experience.
Why?
So you can combine, basically the idea is the Android version of combining your iPad and your phone, one device, fits in your pocket, and there you go. You have it becomes like the all-in-one does it all.
Like that thick.
Actually, it's not that bad.
Okay.
It's a little thicker than most phones. But really, as clunky as it could be, it's actually no bigger than the current Samsung Flips.
Interesting.
Hawaii managed to get that package condensed.
Right.
So it's kind of impressive. I'm thinking that we're also potentially going to be seeing a foldable iPhone in the future. That's still rumored. I'm wondering where they're going to go with that, because I don't think Apple's going to get to the trifold. And the reason I say this is that starts to interfere with their iPad market.
That's debatable. If they would go iPad with the ability of iPhone, I think they would go. It would go.
Well, I mean, technically they do. Like you can get a cellular iPad. It's just not really intended to work as a cell phone.
Right.
So it's kind of, I think Apple's going to have to really consider.
Right.
At what point do you keep trying to push the market to carry two devices?
Right.
And when do you just go, okay, we have the technology, we have the ability, it's kind of already there, we're just kind of turning it off. What are we really doing?
Right.
Like, is this reasonable? But it's also part of the problem is that we know the life expectancy of any cell phone is about 2 years. That's what we've come to all expect now. Like, we've just accepted it and moved on. 2 years, the length of your normal postpaid contract is about all we expect.
Right.
Like, I mean, let's get real. I mean, we want more.
Right.
But we've come to expect it's going to be about 2 years.
Right.
And then trade it in, trade it up, do whatever you're doing. Get your next phone. iPads and tablets in general, we tend to we have a totally different expectation for them. Like, I'm on my second phone since getting my iPad.
Right.
I mean, like, my iPad's fine. I'm not looking to replace it anytime soon. I don't expect to, like, unless it goes through an unfortunate accident. it's like I'm not looking
Right.
for a new one. But this is an iPad 9
Right.
compared to what we're up to the iPad 12. I think we are. What is it? Where are we at? iPad official store. I think it's the 12. So iPad. Oh, what generation are we in? Oh, things I hate about. Oh, come on. Explore iPad further. Maybe that gets me into tech specs. All screen, all colorful, take it with you, redesigned, blah, blah, blah. Come on, tell me what generation we're on. Just, why? Why do y'all have to make this difficult? All right, we're just going to ask search. There we go. 10th, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, the current generation of iPad is the 10th generation, announced by Apple in October 2022 and released in the same month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. See, and that's just it. Like me, I'm still on my one Android phone since you got your two phones and your tablet. I'm still setting over on my G Plus. I like my Android phone. I'm not really a tablet person. I need more. Like we haven't found me a tablet that I can be happy with.
Like his iPad went back so fast.
Like I didn't even get the early payment offer. It went back that fast.
Yeah, it was just like, nope, this isn't going to work. Right. I inherited a pencil.
Yeah, it was like, done. Of course, you got a new crayon.
Yes, I have the Logitech crayon now. It's actually sitting here in front of me. So for those of you not familiar, that's the crayon. I'm kind of liking it. There's a big difference between the pencil and the crayon. The pencil does pressure sensitivity. The crayon actually only works by angle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's as long as it's touching the screen, it's one pressure. Okay. Which I'm kind of liking.
Okay.
Because the pencil and I have argued. Mostly because I was raised in the era of ballpoint pen.
Mm-hmm.
So, it is a favorite Meryl Streep movie line and her hatred for ballpoint pens in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just bear down. Because you do have to with a ballpoint pen. And it was I think a lament involved in that movie of the like penmanship getting lost in the changeover from fountain to ballpoint, which is very true. Right. Like a whole loss was there. Like, you think the cursive argument is bad now? You should have been around for fountain to ballpoint. Because there's it was a struggle for people. Right. Which is a really weird thing to think of. Like, my parents remembered this. Mm-hmm. And the differential between fountain pen and ballpoint. And just like the total like readjustment of how you write.
Mm-hmm. Because it is an adjustment. And here's the thing. Like, I'm kind of glad that one, I love cursive to sit and write cards or to sign documents or that type of thing. But dear God, can we get to the computer age where there is no handwriting so somebody can understand what the hell I say?
Oh, Brenda. She asked, "How old are you, Joe?" Fountain pen to ballpoint. LOL. I know what, but here's the thing. It's not that, like, my parents were born in the 30s, 1930s, to be precise, or a little more precise. But no, like, this was a changeover in their life. Like, we're not talking Quill. They weren't that old, but like,
I can write with one of those.
It's a weird realization that, like, the ballpoint pen is what? How old is the ballpoint pen? Technically 1931. And literally filed for patents in 1938. Didn't really pick up quick speed adoption.
Yeah, it wasn't until the 1950s and 60s that they became popular.
Yeah, and like, literally, mom and dad were like, mentally, it was two separate writing styles for them, and could move back and forth easily. No. This isn't me personally changing, except that I will point out that mom, again, much like we're going through with the cursive, like, oh, we're not teaching kids cursive in school anymore. That hysteria, mom was sincerely interested in me experiencing fountain tip pens. And so is dad, to a degree, for the fact that it is different. And, like, this is a whole lost concept for like, now it's totally gone. Like, well, I mean, in terms of, like, it was lost enough to the ballpoint and, like, gel pen and all of that were fountain pens, but now trying to do print writing with fountain tip pen.
There's whole YouTube channels.
Oh, I would. It's a pen designed for cursive.
Yes.
It's not meant for print. It's like, as in, is meant for the flourishes and the flow of cursive writing. Like, that was what it was built for. It's a very much a mimic of the quill. It doesn't handle, like, hard, straight lines that you use all the way through print writing. Like, it's, and especially if you're coming from ballpoint, it's an experience. It's more akin to painting, as is much of calligraphy, by the way. It's more akin to painting with ink and writing with a pen.
Well, that, and you need dusting powder and blotting paper. Like, it's more than just pick up a pen and write.
It can be, very much, depending upon the ink. Like, I will say that, like, the inks have gotten better.
They have. Now, granted, they've not improved the dragon's blood or dove's blood ink. Like, that still will run a mile away. But no.
I know, it's such a weird shift we went to from Apple to cursive to fountain tip pens.
Well,
but yeah, like, it's all related. But anyway, getting back to why the conversation took this tangent is it really is the difference on the iPad between the pencil and the crayon from Logitech. Is that I don't feel like I'm struggling as much with it. Because I kept feeling like I'm having to use a lot of pressure to get what I want out of the pencil, whereas with the crayon, I can just kind of just keep moving. Keep moving. So yeah.
Interesting. All right, so Microsoft shifted a very big warning.
Oh, yes, they did. Did we get a new article there?
You already had it, but I'll send it again.
Oh, sorry, I may have missed it. My apologies. Oh, Forbes did one of its moments.
Uh-huh.
It jumped to the next article. So Microsoft suddenly warns users, go back to Windows 10 immediately. So from Forbes, which Forbes quit doing that thing where you try to like autoplay articles or whatever it is you think you're doing. It's really annoying. So this is a confusing time to be a Windows 10 user, as a raft of contradictory advice seems to hit you weekly. The October deadline is fast approaching. After that, your choices are to upgrade if you can, or buy a new PC if you cannot, or you can pay $30 to literally buy yourself another year. There's a real need for a workaround, but Microsoft has suddenly issued a new warning, which is bad news for users. This last week has been a nightmare on that workaround front. First, Microsoft edited its official support document to remove a seemingly official registry tweak. This provided a bypass for hardware restrictions that would stop hundreds of millions of Windows 10 users upgrading if they want to upgrade, which most don't. Then, with that news still being digested, Microsoft seemed to remove another workaround, the Flyby 11 software, a risky, unwanted app blocking installs for many. As ever with the Windows 10 upgrade debacle, there followed speculation as to what is and isn't Microsoft's intent and whether the hardware hurdles have changed. So Wonder No More, a company spokesperson, reached out to let me know Microsoft has just clarified the situation with another edit. And it's stark. Windows 11 minimum system requirements remain unchanged, it says, warning even more bluntly that those who have used workarounds should undo them. Quote, if you installed Windows 11 on a device not meeting Windows 11 system requirements, Microsoft recommends you roll back to Windows 10 immediately. That means if you use the seemingly official registry tweak instructions before they were deleted, you're bang out of luck. The new language was added on Tuesday and deals head on with the confusion created when the document was changed to remove the registry tweak. Quote, the support article was originally published on September 30th, 2021, the company explains, when Windows 11 was first released to the public. At the time of publication and still today, the intention behind the support page is to detail ways of installing Windows 11 on devices that meet system requirements for Windows 11. For those with PCs that can upgrade, the free offer to do so is open and will likely remain so at least until October. For those without compatible PCs, the official advice is to upgrade your PC. This is the year of the Windows 11 PC refresh, after all, or pay the $30 and kick the problem down the road to October 2026.
When I think we will probably have a new operating system.
Maybe. I don't know that. I don't know what we're doing. I don't even know what Microsoft is doing at this point. And quite frankly, I keep feeling more and more and more encouraged to get away from Windows.
Okay.
I say that, and I feel bad about that because I don't appreciate Apple's cost of hardware. I really don't. I just I don't. I don't like their fight against right to repair, especially in this political climate. I'm really. It's not that I hate the Apple OS. I don't hate Mac OS. I really don't.
Right.
I know a lot of people struggle with it. Some people love it. Same with Windows. I get it. I do. I don't personally have any problem with it. With either direction. I'm just really not liking the way Microsoft has And
Right.
I'm not one for sports analogies, really, but they have fumbled this damn release of Windows 11
Mm-hmm.
from day one.
Right.
And it has been this never-ending clown car
Mm-hmm.
of arbitrary decisions that they then have to backtrack and try to support
Mm-hmm.
that don't make any obvious sense.
Right.
That, don't get me wrong, I think having an operating system with enhanced security features for select hardware
Right.
is a glorious and wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that has long been the model.
Right.
Like, you had enhanced protections based on some hardware.
Right.
The trusted platform module is a great and wonderful thing. I don't think it's going to do everything they want it to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think this is the be all end all of perfect security,
Mm-hmm.
but they just keep trying to double down on it. And
Right.
it's like, so at this point, realistically, the actual technical capacity
Right.
has only moved in the last decade of computing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a hair faster. It's a hair better. It's a hair more than what it was.
Right.
But realistically, we're just it's in terms of processors, same shit, different day.
So are you going
Same shit,
desktop or laptop?
Oh, you're pricing my Mac?
No, I'm pricing what I can get you. That's not what I'm asking.
Which is not a Mac. Well, it will need to be a desktop.
Okay.
So, but realistically, with this one, I can technically buy a CPU and meet requirements. Because, guys, if you didn't know, my super machine that is now like 9 years old. Yeah, see, that's not even as good as the specs on my current machine.
I know that. That's a Mac.
You know how aggravating it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's the 24-inch iMac, 8 CPU, 8 GPU. So the 8 GPU is a little better than my current system. With 8 gigs of RAM and a 512 SSD, I'd fill that up in 5 minutes. Like, I would have to turn around and immediately upgrade it across the board.
No.
No.
External only, mister.
But with 8 gigs of RAM, I can't even work. I can't even begin to work at that. So for you guys to understand, so I have a Threadripper processor. For those of you not familiar, that's an AMD processor. AMD did a branch between Ryzen and Threadripper. I went Threadripper on that, which is a great product line. So I do have a 8-core processor, which means I have 16 threads. So it will technically act like a 16 processor system. Roughly. It's more technical than that, but moving on. But then I have 56 gigs of RAM. Like, that's what I need to breathe.
Right.
Is 56 gigs of RAM. So yeah, but that's not actually all that bad for the 24-inch 8-core iMac. I mean, by Mac standards, $3,000 is not that bad. Oh, and then we have the 13-inch MacBook Air 8-core. Oh, What is the RAM on this? Because that's storage.
7-core chip, M1 chip, 8-core CPU, 7-core, which I don't understand why it has 2 cores.
Graphics processing unit has cores. As in the graphics card. This is an integrated M1 chip, so it has so what it's saying is the M1 chip has 15 cores on it in the case of the MacBook. 8 of those are for CPU usage for the machine to run. 7 of those are for graphics processing. So yeah, the M1, I like the M1's kind of cool. But yeah. So now I was just trying to figure out how much RAM on that on the 13-inch MacBook.
Spec manual.
That's the MacBook Air. That's not even the MacBook Pro. I'm just saying, like, Apple's doing pretty nice on its MacBook Air. Like, that's kind of impressive. I mean, 256 storage and 8 gigs again. And that's my problem is I like Apple. Can we talk about your RAM here? Like RAM and storage, guys. RAM and storage. Like, we need more. Like, I don't know what y'all think we're doing over here. Like, have y'all tried to run Photoshop recently? Jesus Christ. Like, forget my virtual machines and the fact that I need those to function. Have you guys tried running Photoshop recently? Like, that damn program eats up more resources.
The highest I'm seeing on them is, in general, it's $2,000. Mac 30 core CPU, and it just has 32-bit RAM.
32 gigs? Well, see, basically what ends up happening is you have to hit the Mac Pro, not the MacBook Pro, but the Mac Pro.
Well, I'm looking at
and then you can hit the M2 processor. You can have up to 192 gigs of RAM. And that's the problem. You end up having to do a custom Mac Pro. And once you hit the word Mac Pro, it hurts. It hurts. Because the starting price on that is $7,000.
Well, I'm looking an Apple A grade desktop computer, 27-inch Mac, 128 RAM, HD storage, 3-tier storage for 15.
Oh, for 15 what? 1,500? 15,000?
1,500.
Oh, that's not so bad.
No.
But it is. It's kind of, yeah, and I'm just curious where the MacBook Pro, like, because I assume just start with the 16-inch M4 Max. Oh, the best I can do is a 16-core CPU, 40-core GPU, 48 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte of SSD storage. Can I upgrade this $4,000 Mac? Oh, I can. I can add $200 to that, so $41.99. And the 1 terabyte of storage I can live with, because I'm not spending another $400. And yeah, so $41.99 would be my minimum on a MacBook Pro to try to replace my super system.
Right.
And even that comes with concessions.
Right. A lot of them.
And this is where we are, is we're spending a lot of money. And don't get me wrong, I know the graphics have gotten better. I know that there are a lot of better things out there. And I know y'all keep trying to tell me that Neural Engine, for example, on the M4 chip is a wonderful, beautiful thing. I don't care.
Right.
What do y'all think I'm doing over here?
Landing a spaceship or keeping hold of a tornado, one of the two, it's real debate on what day I'm having.
Like, I'm playing Second Life. My biggest problem is I run a lot of things to keep consistency, add a layer of security, make sure that I have some bulletproofness. I run client processes, some of them, within virtual machines. And therein lies my problem with low RAM systems. It doesn't work.
Right.
Like right now with this 8-core processor, and 56 gigs of RAM, I can run some pretty sweet virtual machines. Because I can take one logical processor, count it as because it's threaded, as a dual core system, or take 2 cores and it's a 4-core system equivalent. Right. It works beautifully because I have the RAM to spare.
Right. And having that RAM to spare is important, but we're apparently got until October to make a serious decision on your machine.
We do, and I think it's going to be because I have some support and ability on my motherboard. I can just upgrade my processor.
Okay.
Now, would I love a graphics card upgrade and maybe some more RAM? Absolutely. Do I need it? Not really.
No. Well, it's like the new Bat machine. I haven't noticed a difference.
Yeah, no, they were comparable machines.
I know, but we upgraded the RAM on this machine.
We did. But I think where you're going to end up noticing it is going to more be the fact that you can co-run a virtual machine, which we did set up for you because you have one software program that just wreaks havoc.
It does.
And this is why we do this. Just so you understand, this is why virtual machines can be really useful for apps that just have a habit of taking over systems. I literally have one virtual machine for Discord. Not because I'm running a Discord server, not what I mean. I mean, I have set up a virtual machine and installed Discord in it as a client of other people's servers, just because I hate the way Discord wants to take over a system. You are gonna run it at start. It is gonna just persist and run. I really hate that aspect. And the struggle it is anymore with apps that want to take over your system and just no, you're going to stay connected forever.
Well, and that's the astrology.
Put it in a virtual machine and shut it down.
Well, the astrology software I have.
Yeah, it swings the other direction.
It's designed to run on it like you have a astrology computer. That's all you do on it is astrology. Anything else it wants to get rid of or ignore or put to sleep or whatever.
Yeah, it's literally there's 2 things going on with that program. One, it is older than dirt. The actual program itself. I mean, it's astrology. Like there's nothing much better than it. You know what I mean? There really hasn't been major changes in astrology software. Someone out there, please take note. Yeah. There have not been major changes in astrology software. There's been some repackaging. There's been some, it's a nicer interface, which can be said is a good thing in some instances. But at the core of it, it's still astrology.
Right.
It's bounded by the same principles. It doesn't really, you know what I mean? It's not
right.
It's not rocket science. In terms of it's not an ever evolving thing that just constantly changes week to week, day to day, hour to hour.
Right.
It doesn't need an update every 15 minutes. What the hell are you thinking? It doesn't work as a subscription service. What are you changing?
Right.
What are you going to change?
Right.
You got one little lone dev over there who, just to see if anyone's still paying attention, releases a new feature. Look, what are you doing? And this is what exists in the marketplace for astrologers is, quote unquote, a lot of dead software. Because it reached its terminal end. It's a very happy little software package. It works beautifully. It does what it's supposed to do. What are you going to update? Now, that being said, the user experience of that particular package it's growing along in the tooth. It is beautiful for its generation.
Yes.
When it was made, it was gorgeous. And if you can remember old school Encarta, it is very much a product of its generation. It very much mimics that whole era of computing. Right. Of animated, slow, crappy animated opening screens with sound. Like if you have ever put an Encarta CD in your computer and had it pop up, you know his experience going to do your astrological charting. And it's very big, clunky kiosk buttons. It you could put this on an old school kiosk machine, and set it out in the wild. And touchscreen it with old school CRT touchscreen would work beautifully. The entire program is built for 400 by 600 display. I mean, it is the perfect product of its generation.
And it used to live on its own computer because it would take up the full computer. It would take over the whole computer. I can send the email directly from the software, all of it.
Yeah, I'm sure the minimum requirements were a 486 DX2. I'll guarantee.
Not even
guarantee.
That. It's designed to run on Windows. Its minimum requirement is Windows 95.
Yeah. So basically a 486 DX2 with about, I think it was 8 megs of RAM, maybe 16 for it.
Yeah. If that. Yeah. It checks the RAM on the machine and throws a fit. I've had it not install. My travel laptop, I can't do astrology charts because it doesn't recognize the RAM.
Yeah, it doesn't understand. And this becomes a problem. It is the benefit, however, of virtual machines is you can do things like set up a more perfect environment for it. It remembers and understands Windows 95. You can set up a virtual machine with Windows 95. And let it natively do what it natively wants to do in its happy little place.
Right. Well, see, tying it back to the article, here's the problem. Most business machines are still XP. They morphed up to Windows 10. If they're closing Windows 10, there's going to be a lot of businesses that have a lot of problems.
But that also goes back to the point I was making is that not a lot has changed.
No.
Not in terms of actual hardware. it's different. It is, but these were micro changes. Like we did the biggest jump from like Windows 95 to Windows XP, maybe Windows 7 if you want to be generous.
Right.
That was the biggest jump in hardware, in processing power itself, and in memory and in storage. Like a lot of things changed over that period. Once you get to Windows 7, these are incremental changes. These are revisions, a little bit faster, a little bit smaller, little bit, but ultimately not that much different. Like we're adding a few more cores to the mold. That's about all we're doing.
Right.
Like we're running at, and even at that, the like an 8-core machine for most people, unless you're doing heavy, intense VR graphics, you're good. You're good. You're gonna be good for a while.
Yeah. I just decided I would check my guess. Even AI is agreeing with me. Windows 12 should be released sometime in September or October of this year.
Ugh. I'm kind of wondering if maybe Microsoft is. I'm wondering if they're going to double down one more time on the tech specs. That we're just all in on this trusted platform module.
Right.
Like, by God, we're doing it. Or if this is going to be the moment that, like, we're just going to pretend 11 didn't happen.
Yeah, because this should be the improved, newest version. Like, 98X sucked. XP was better. 8 sucked. 7 was good. 8 sucked. 10 sucked. 10 was
10
better.
was good. 10 was solid.
11 sucks.
11's been a disaster.
12 should be the next best.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if we're going to find ourselves with Microsoft doubling down on the you're all going to trusted platform. Screw you and the horse you rode in on. You're going to do what we say.
Right.
Or if they're going to be like, we don't remember 11. Like we've suddenly developed amnesia about 11.
Right.
Sort of like we developed amnesia over Windows Vista that no one remembers.
I remember it, and I liked it.
You're in a minority there.
I know. I like my little widgets that I could have set for everything over here on the side, and it would just run by themselves.
No. Guys, that was an age in computing that thankfully died somewhere around Windows 8. Like 8.1, I think officially killed it. And they went, oh no. But here's tiles. We'll give you tiles. You'll love tiles.
No.
And then, Windows 10 went, we don't even know what we were thinking.
Right.
And so it borrows a little from that, but like it's been, y'all don't know how hard it is some days not to just nuke the desktop entirely and go back to a 486 and be like, I'm doing what I can. Because Windows 3.1 was kind of sweet when you think about it retrospectively.
Can we just go back to DOS 1? Like, I can trap command code all day. And I don't have to search through a fucking menu.
Hey, there's always that. But no, I mean, it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride. Like, just to point out, it's been a wild ride with Windows. I
just hope they don't. Okay, this is me personally. I hope they do not copy more of fucking Apple.
I don't really care if they do the copy and borrow. Like, they've been doing it back and forth for decades.
Mm-hmm.
It's inevitable. I'll guarantee it. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I hate the way you install.
It's just gonna happen. Just forget it. Now, what we've noticed with 11 so far, and I will point this out. So 11 is pushing harder and harder and harder with each revision. That you will, by God, have a Microsoft account, not a local machine account.
Right.
You will, by God, use OneDrive. I can't say I'm necessarily, like, there's parts of me that hate that. There's parts of me that, on the total professional, I fix y'all's machines. I do appreciate it.
See, I don't, and it's getting annoying for me is because I got to look for something I've downloaded, and it's stuck in some other folder, and I'm like, it's not on my computer. Like, if OneDrive would just ghost into my computer like it used to, and not have its own directory, I'd be super damn happy. I don't need 2 desktops. I don't need 2 documents. I don't need 2 this.
Yeah, OneDrive be wildin'. That's all I can say for OneDrive is it started doing its own thing a while back, and really following the thought process for it has been a struggle. To like, I get it, but why? Why would you do this to people? And it does, and it is actually a more significant version of the problem you're having. Is it can literally split in 2. I have run into machines where OneDrive is existing as a cloud-only thing, and the machine that is supposedly interconnected with OneDrive is existing on its own, and never the 2 shall meet.
Right.
And I've run into that on a couple of computers. Yours is more so an issue of all your stuff is in the cloud, but it's not choosing to mirror down.
Right.
As in, it can, it just hasn't.
Right.
And that's becoming not a bug, but a feature, supposedly. Again, we're really trying to force the usage of OneDrive.
Where's my teapot?
Where's your teapot?
Because that was just the fucking sound that needed to go off right then.
I know, it's frustrating and it's aggravating, and I've run into users that have been ready to scream. I've also seen it do some really amazing things for people that have sudden computer death. The worst thing in the world happens. OneDrive has saved their ass on so many fronts.
Right.
Because it is automatically backing up those files. It is going to make sure that, if you drop that laptop with your dissertation, it's going to be backed up. All you have to do is get to a computer and log in.
Right.
Just get to a computer and log in. You're not going to lose it. Okay?
Right.
Like, everyone can calm down. The loss of the laptop is one problem. The loss of the content isn't a loss. It's just currently inaccessible till you log in somewhere else, and then you will have it again. You can get back to it.
Right.
So, and that's usually the part that, as an IT professional, I hate that situation for a user where everything was physically on the machine and backed up nowhere. Because if you do, and there's like I think that's Murphy's Law, isn't it? That inevitably, if you are up for some major thing, major project proposal, the thesis for your graduation, the thing that gets you, a house, a job, a car, or whatever, the biggest moment in your life, it will be the moment something will go wrong with your computer.
Right.
And it will be a total loss.
It will be. All right, so let's hop over to some gossip news. Thank you, Reality T.
Yeah, Sister Wives star Christine Brown to release tell-all memoir. So this is from Reality T. Christine Brown is ditching the dirt in her upcoming book, Sister Wife, a memoir of faith, family, and finding freedom. Simon & Schuster's website calls the Sister Wives star's new book a groundbreaking and heartfelt memoir describing how the former polygamist found the strength to leave Mormonism and the only life she's known behind. For the first time, Christine fully shares the journey that led her away from the Mormon church and spiritual husband, Cody Brown. Oh, Cody's going to love this. To be fair, the Browns weren't actually practicing Mormons. They belonged to the apostolic. Yeah, United Brethren, AUB, a fundamentalist offshoot of the Mormon church.
I'm looking forward to this book, although this is not the book I want to read.
Okay.
Mary's book is the one I want to read. And then I want to read Janelle's book. The three of them are going to do books. I want to see Janelle's book. I want to read Janelle's book. I love her personality. I love her mind. And she knows where the bodies are buried because she was the family bookkeeper.
Yeah. So it's like, well, Christine started it. Mary's going to show up and dish more. And then Janelle's going to bring the receipts.
Exactly.
And be like, hold my tea.
No. It's going to be hold my shot. Because she just had her first shot of whiskey last episode. This is going to be like, I will be reviewing these books. We will be talking about these books. Like, just dig into it. It's going to be heaven. And I'm hoping they make a distinction between how he sucks as a hinge to also how he sucks as a man to how he's stupid.
See, this is the problem I have with like Sister Wives, polygamy on air. Like one, please stop conflating polygamy and polyamory. Everyone in the universe, please. Not the same. Religious polygamy is its own offshoot of polygamy at that.
Right.
And then
there
is the remarkable case of Cody Brown, who defies all of that to go on and do his own thing. It's been its own. It really is its own special case of trying to even sometimes relate what the hell he's doing to some kind of idea of like religious polygamy, or God forbid you try to relate it to polyamory, because you could be here all day long.
Doing this. Like, all of the commentators are doing this, and I'm like, no.
Stop it.
He sucked as a human. He sucked as a hinge, and he was stupid. Like, more to the point, many levels of stupid here.
Well, more to the point, he was never a hinge. Like, and that's the problem. That's the problem. Is we keep trying to use polyamory terms to talk about a polygamous relationship that is supposedly based in religious-based polygamy, that then you have, and here comes Cody Brown, who glossed over the concepts,
right, And the principle.
And then went off to go do his own fucking thing.
Right. And
that is not Mormon, is not religious, is not polygamy, is not polyamory. It is none of those things. And so trying to just sum it up as, well, he's a bad hinge. He's not a hinge. Like, stop explaining to people the idea that this is what this because you're breaking the concept.
Mm-hmm.
He's one man with 3 wives, and that's the end of comparison.
4 wives.
To Cody, 4 wives. That's the end of the comparison. Like, stop there. That's it. Forget trying to explain it in hinge terms and polyamory terms and religious polyamory or polygamy terms. Stop, because you're going to break people. Because because this is the most notable example, and I put that in air quotes if you're just listening. And if you start trying to describe it with terms that are and also primarily used over here in polyamory, polygamy, and religious polygamy, you're going to break people's understanding. Like you are destroying the definition by trying to insert Cody Brown into that framework, because that's none of that is the framework he's following.
No, it isn't. But the point is they keep comparing it, and it's like, no, he was a man with 4 wives, and he had a chosen wife.
See, I even struggle with saying he was a man with 4 wives. He actually, I know technically on paper, he has been a man with 4 wives simultaneously on paper.
Right.
In terms of functional simultaneous relationships, he maxed out at 3, blew it up the second the 4th one came in, and they have dropped like flies very quickly. He maxed out at 3. Unless you really want a hardcore claim, the 1 second where he added Robin, and for a brief moment, just a brief moment, he had 4 functional relationships, and then her mouth opened. And those started dying one by one. So now he's down to 1.
Right.
Like, that's what occurred. So I really struggle with and this goes back to the fundamental problems. He's doing his own thing. None of it's related to religious polygamy, or polyamory. You can diagrammatically explain it. And it will be like, that sounds like a hinge. And it's like, it would.
Yeah.
It would.
Right.
But he's doing his own thing. And so you're best at, he's the spoke in the middle of the wheel. Or he's the hub in the middle of the wheel with 3 to 4 spokes. 3 spokes got knocked out. He has 1 spoke, and that spoke is supposed to take care of everything.
Yeah.
Because fuck all does Cody do.
Well, Cody doesn't do shit, first of all. He is the laziest husband I've ever seen in a planet. The 3 wives had it down in the system, and they were doing well. Like, they were doing very well. Like, we saw the show, the 2nd season, Robin comes in. But if we look at their history, that relationship...
Pretty steering wheel. This was a 3-spoke wheel with a Cody hub.
Right.
And it was all rolling along fine.
Right.
Now we're at the weirdness of trying to consider this religious polygamy with a hub, Cody, and 1 spoke called Robin. And the other 3 spokes have left the wheel.
Right. And now they're laying all of it out. Like, because there's things that, like, when you're in a relationship, you shut your mouth, you just shut your damn mouth, you don't say a word. about it.
Yeah.
Well, most people don't. But they had a system like Christine raised the children. Janelle made the money. Mary controlled the company, because when you get past two people, you have a company.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, you know, she sometimes had to be a hardline bitch. Well, guess what? She had to be a hardline bitch because they had to figure out, okay, are we paying this water bill or are we paying the power bill this check? Oh, you got a check coming in tomorrow? All right, fine. We'll pay the water on that. And I think she, you know, no one likes her, but I think that's because she literally had to be the hard line.
I think it's more so they all dislike her for similar reasons, all related to her function.
Right.
And that's a very harsh distinction to make.
Mm-hmm.
And it has more to do with the fact that when you are managing, because functionally what she did was manage all these people.
Mm-hmm.
She was the human resources,
you
know, of the functional relationships. You're going to spend most of your time having to make compromises. And people are not going to like that.
Right.
Just point blank. You're going to have to look at all the people involved here and go, you can't have the pair of designer shoes you want, but this one gets cleats for sports. Okay, this power bill gets paid. Your water bill can wait. And so no one's ever going to be, unlike the entrance of Robin, in which, well, Robin just gets everything. Whatever Robin wants, whatever Robin needs, whatever Robin thinks, we're going to do the Robin. And that's ultimately where that started to break down. Is like, well, that doesn't work when you have three other people that are going to be like, you know, fucked by comparison. Like, just, fuck you and your needs. Robin wants whatever Robin wants. That ultimately is going to break that. But in the functional three, you're going to have equal dislike going all around. It has less to do with she's not likable.
Right.
And ultimately the success of it is she is likable. But she's also going to be very rational about, you can't have everything you want, I can't have everything I want, and you're not getting everything you want either.
Right.
So we all have to find a middle ground. And so that's going to create like an equal moment of like, well, I still don't like that she didn't let me do, or I couldn't, or we couldn't, or
she yelled at this one, or she yelled at that one. Well, she kind of has to. There's 18 kids on a trip. 2 of them are being assholes. She's not going to put up with that.
Like, I don't have time.
Right.
Like, I don't have time for this.
Right.
You know, on top of everything else, because it's not like you're on a school field trip with the teacher. It's no, she and also has to go home and deal with 18 hungry people. She, you know, in various ways, that have to be clothed and sheltered and permission slips signed and report cards reviewed and lunches packed and who needs new shoes this week because they grew tremendously. You know, and all of this is constantly running through. Yeah, you're going to be stressed the fuck out.
Yeah. And then we got Christine raising children, basically running a daycare. And we've got Janelle over here working her fucking ass off, busting her ass at this company as in a senior accounting role. She made the money, you know, and we have Cody. And granted, we give me a lot of shit for the shit I pull in this household. Okay. But I think if I pulled some of his shit, I would have 4 people kicking my ass.
I think you overestimate your at the point in which you're pulling a Cody Brown, and I mean that specifically. If you were to pull a Cody Brown, I think you overestimate you would have even one person that would even begin to confront you.
Right. Well,
because it would be over.
Right.
Is what I'm saying is that level of like, and I know we want to label like he's a narcissist. I really want to start getting away from like the whole toxic and narcissist and labeling people like that.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. Because those are like, especially narcissists, that is a technical, psychological, should be diagnosed by a professional.
Mm-hmm.
But the behavior is clearly bad. Like, we can all talk about the behavior,
right?
And that this is clearly not functional,
right?
Clearly, like, it's not functional. It didn't function,
right? But and let me give you an example of pulling a Cody Brown. Tomorrow morning, I get up, get dressed, take off to, what is this? Northside Chrysler Dodge Fiat, and drive home in the 2025 two-door sports Jeep Wrangler.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what level of insanity must I be on to just go do that?
Okay, if you just went and did that, that's a level of insanity that 4 people are going to talk to you about.
Uh-huh.
At the point in which you bring that home and then give it to one of the others that is not part of the household, at least 3 of us are going to have I'm fucking done. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, with Cody and the Robin relationship especially, that's where it all started to break down. It's that level of go out and do something financially irresponsible, and then hand it. Just, here you go. Here's this thing, and it's like, excuse the fuck out of you. Did you just seriously pull that stunt?
Yeah.
Oh, you think I already don't know? I don't know. No, it's seriously not that bad.
The one I'm looking at is a soft top.
Pardon?
The Jeep Wrangler I'm looking at is a soft top.
Right.
2 doors that don't roll down. They snap off. Yeah. Like, not happening.
Yeah. But no, I mean, it is very much like, and it's where I've struggled so much when we try to talk about Sister Wives, is it just, that show burns me on so many levels. Right. For what it socially does to the expectations of what this is. And it's like, yeah, if all I'd ever seen of polyamory, polygamy, religious polygamy, this situation was Sister Wives, and someone tells me they're poly and in, multiple relationships, I'd be freaked the fuck out. Stop using our words.
Right.
Like, oh my God. Yeah, Brenda points out, Burr, it's cold where you live, right? Removable hardtop.
But my point being is, I don't remember whose live I was in. It was probably Mary's when she was telling the story. Apparently, Janelle had just gotten a promotion when they lived in the big house. They were just going to be able to pay everything, like get everything caught up. And Cody went and bought that damn 2-door convertible we see in the first episode.
Just totally take the money and run.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and granted, that can be a problem in any relationship, monogamous,
Mhm.
non-monogamous, doesn't matter.
Right.
Any relationship, you can have disparate values, and want to make disparate choices with especially large sums of money, or the sudden change in circumstance, and that can be a problem in any relationship. Where one partner's like, we should save it and pay off the bills and pay down the credit cards, and maybe we'll take a couple $100. And the other partner's like, oh, we just increased, our buying power. Let me go spend it. And that's going to create problems in any relationship, monogamous or polyamorous or polygamous or whatever the fuck Cody Brown's doing, that is not those things. And I really can't stress that enough. Personally, just it irks me to no end. So it's a problem in any relationship. It is especially a problem when it's like, dude, you have 18 kids.
Right. Now he has 18. I think at that time there were like 6.
Okay. So you have 6 kids. Dude, 6 kids? Are you 25?
Right.
Like that, I could forgive a 25-year-old pulling a stunt like that. You know what I mean? Like, you're still kind of a kid yourself.
Right.
You just, like, you're an adult with low experience. And you got a little rich for 5 minutes. It went to your head, and you went and did something stupid. I can understand that for a 25-year-old. What was he, 40? Get it together, jackass.
All right, so I'm going to tell you a story, and I want you to hold your response to the story. I'm going to put it into our terms. So me and you go out on a date, but we have to stop by and see Julie. And I'm dropping her off a check for something. And it's a brand new Mac. And I'll look at you and go, well, maybe, Invisible will let you use it when he's at work. What's your response?
I would have to take into account, like, what is the actual situation. If we're just talking about a random spur of the moment gift, I'm not going to take as kindly to that. Because please note, Invisible has had a new computer, at least one, if not 2, since we've been together.
1.
2.
No, I took the first one back. Because he got that one. We got him that one, and then I took it for work when mine died, and I got him the other one. Because he's on a SkyTech.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, I had already built this system. He, I think, was on, like, a laptop.
Right.
And then he got a desktop. And then you did kind of a switcheroo, or switcheroony. And I think he ended up back on a laptop. And then he got another computer.
Right.
Which he's currently on. So I'm counting that as 2.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? It's like, no, he's had 2 new computers since I built this one. Now, granted, this one had a lot of stuff in it, and it has had the longevity to make it this far. But yeah, if this is just a spur of the moment, like, we're just like, oh, we got a tax refund. There's a dream. I can dream, man. I can dream. But we got a massive tax refund, or I signed up a massive client, or whatever happens, and we have a sudden influx of cash. And your first thought is, I'm going to go get him a Mac. I'm going to have so many problems with that. First of all, you got him a Mac? Like, yeah.
Mac Studio. I'll add fuel to the fire. Mac Studio.
Studio doesn't. I mean, that's. Which way are you trying to add fuel to the fire? Of the fact it's going to become a paperweight?
Um.
Or did you mean the Mac Pro?
The highest end computer they've got.
Okay, the Mac Pro. So yeah. That's going to be a moment of like, have you lost it? Because really, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, not that I'm advocating that I should get all the best things, but it's like, hi, I'm sitting here with the oldest machine that's not compatible with Windows 11. I could understand him wanting an upgrade. You know, and that can be a priority. But it's like, in terms of who's getting a new machine, why don't we focus on the person who needs a machine to make money to be able to afford the upgrade that he can defer? Like,
right.
That would be my process on that. So if you're just dropping off a check to get a cool gift, yeah, that's gonna be a moment. Probably one where I lock the doors after I throw you out of the car and let you walk home and think about that. Because you need to think about that.
Well, because here's what happened.
I'll throw your inhaler at you.
Well, thank you. But here's what happened. Cody and Mary was on a date. They were discussing getting her a car, another car, because she was going to be doing all this driving back and forth to whatever.
The new job.
No, it wasn't the new job. It's when she bought the house. This is right after she threw him out. And she told why she threw him out. He was telling her they couldn't afford to get her a car.
And then he went and bought a car.
No.
No. Okay, cool.
He said, I've got to make a stop here. He stops off at this art. It says art on it. So she thought they were going to go and look at the art in the gallery or whatnot. No, he drops off I think it was $11,000 check for a piece of art for Robin's walls. But they can't afford to get her a car.
It's like, but you could have. But you could have. Like, think about your spending wisely. Yeah. No, and I think that's where that is. And sometimes it really, I understand why we want to label him a narcissist. And I don't know that the label's wrong. Like, I'm not making the argument the label's wrong. Let's be clear. The behavior says, I'm trying to impress her and I don't care about your needs. I don't care that I'm going to potentially, screw with your life, make your life harder, potentially leave you stranded on the side of the road.
Right.
Cause you a bunch of brand new expenses for maintaining an older vehicle while adding higher mileage. I don't care about any of that. I want to impress her with $11,000 worth of artwork more than I care about your needs.
Right.
Because that falls into the need want category. Right. Because even if she didn't express she wanted the painting, or even if she did, or whatever the deal is with it, that falls into a want category. Art is a want. I think we all need art in our life, but I think we can also go online and look at a lot of very pretty art we never have to purchase.
Yeah, or go to a beautiful art gallery.
You can go to a beautiful art gallery without having to buy it and put it on a wall.
Right.
So it falls into the actual purchase side of art is, okay, that's more about a want.
Right.
So what did Cody want and expect in exchange because I think that's more where this goes for him in buying
Mm-hmm.
$11,000 worth of art. I'm going to assume it's to impress her, to curry favor, or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
But you turn around and you're in an existing relationship with someone talking about a legitimate need,
Right.
and you're like, we don't have money for that.
Mm-hmm.
I can go do the fun thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can do the thing that gets me something.
Right.
I don't get anything out of your car.
Right.
Your car doesn't do anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, and again, there are people, even without like the labels of narcissists, that have a real problem understanding finance and money, and the idea that they have, the money in your relationship is tied to a lot of opportunities and threats for your relationship, depending upon how you spend it, and whether you're just choosing to take care of wants, like some hedonist, or if you just keep piling it back. Like, there's too far extremes in both directions. But if you're not talking to someone and realizing this is a pretty middle of the road, like this isn't being ultra money conservative. I'm just, I'm going to wash and reuse my garbage bags. Like, that's nuts. Don't do that. Wash and reuse your garbage bags. Like, my God, how cheap can you get? Okay. If it's not at like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs level, it means it's somewhere in the middle. And it's like, I've gotten a job situation where I have to go do and put a lot of miles on a car. I need a car. Doesn't have to be the best car, doesn't have to be the newest car, doesn't have to be the whateverest car. Like, we're not demanding a Mercedes. I need reliable transportation to work so that I can take this job and not be saddled with a bunch of stupid expenses that are gonna, because of the higher mileage and the current vehicle I have, gonna crop up. So let's have this off, start with a newer vehicle, kick the can out.
Right.
Versus, I want pretty. Okay, you chose that. That's gonna create anger.
Right.
In any relationship.
Right.
You really have to, as part of your adulting, as part of your responsible partnering, you have to be willing to process this on that level of, yes, I would love to do this for you. In terms of buying art or going on a vacation or buying the biggest house on the block, your dream home. It's really nice that you want to do those things. Is that something viable for you to do that isn't going to cost you in some other place in ways that you can't afford?
Right.
Because that's ultimately what he did. And what happened is you said, here's my perfectly reasonable argument for why I need a new vehicle. Doesn't have to be the newest, doesn't have to be the greatest, doesn't have to be, a Mercedes. It doesn't have to be this. It just has to be stable, reliable transportation that is better than what I have.
Right.
You rejected that. And then you went and bought pretty. That's going to piss people off. And that can be a real turning point when you suddenly realize nothing I ever need, legitimately well-defended need, is ever going to be more important than you getting your jollies. Whatever that was for you. If it was being the grand gesture in a relationship, if that was, basically paying the whore.
Right.
Whatever that was for you, is that my legitimate need is never going to be greater than
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah, you'll blow up a relationship.
Oh yeah. And I think, everyone goes, the COVID rules were the downfall of the relationship. No, you need to go back about 7 years beforehand. That's when that relationship started falling apart. Is when she wanted to go to psychology. She wanted to go get her degree in psychology.
Mm-hmm.
And it was rejected by the family vote. But they were going to drop money into that ugly ass jewelry that I was excited for. Like, let's just clarify. I like my jewelry. I was excited, hoping that they would turn out some stuff.
And well, okay, but was it? We already knew it was ugly, or that's just how that worked out, and then it was kind of a failed product line and it didn't make any money.
Oh, it was a failed. They actually it's back up under new ownership, as they had to reform the LLC. But no, they talked about it on the show. I was looking forward to it. Like, I would have loved to have had a 3 or 4 ring, full combined 4 ring band type thing.
Okay, but what I was asking is kind of like, this kind of goes back into that, like, was this we already knew the business was going to fail or was failing?
No.
But we're going to add money in. Or was this under the premise of, and potentially, okay, I know you need to go back, or want to go back to school, need to go back to school, because education is a need, and also promotes a career. But I can see a conversation where it's like, okay, that's what you want to do now. We have an opportunity to launch this business. If you can defer your education for, say, a year, let us get the business started. We'll have income from the business that will pay for the education. Otherwise, we have to drop the business opportunity in favor of the education. And then when do we ever do the business? I could see that being one of those compromise conversations of like, if we launch the business, it's going to give you the money to pay for the education. You just have to wait.
No, that wasn't it. We experienced the situation. This was the situation. She wanted to go get psychology school. Robin wanted to start a family business. She couldn't do school and support the business.
Right.
Okay. She could go do school, or she could go work the business. We experienced this with Mystic. When you launched Mystic, at the same time, I was just starting my life coaching classes.
Which we did make work.
Yeah, we made work.
Worked out okay.
It worked out perfectly fine.
So I don't necessarily see it as the same. Like, there was never a moment we thought these two things were completely incompatible.
Right.
Maybe have some conflict between them, but not completely incompatible. They were never at a point of it's either one or the other.
Right.
And that's ultimately not what we did. We didn't just choose one or the other. It was like, we can do both of these. Here's the conflict area.
Right. The conflict area is I can't do client calls. Point blank, I can't go out and hit the site with you. That was the conflict. Her conflict was, I can't go to these jewelry shows with you. I've got to stay home and write papers. I can't sit here and debate, do we do it in silver or gold, or do we offer both? I've got to
I don't have time to run this business or be a major part of this business. I can't work 8 hours, 3 days a week.
Right.
Or 12 hours or what. Like, I can't, I either have to be a student and a mom and whatever.
Right.
Or I can do those other things, not be a student and work your business. One of the two.
That was the choice.
I think that's ultimately how it got presented, but I don't think that was the logic necessarily behind it. Right. Because I think it gets into one of those moments of, but if you spend a year working the business and it goes as planned, which I think is where it all fell apart. And it goes as planned, it's going to make the money that we can afford for you to leave the business and go do whatever you want to. Get your education, travel the world, like whatever. The business will take care of it.
Right.
Like we just have to launch the business.
Right.
Yeah, they were trying to use the popularity on the show to kick off a business. And that's where I think the logic was, but I don't think that's really where it got explained. Is it just got turned into this like, go to school, launch a business, which one will it be? And it's like, but you're not explaining really why that is.
Right.
Like you're just dramaing, like putting all the drama into it. Like it's this impossible choice. It's Sophie's choice. You know, no. I think there was an underlying logic that didn't get communicated out, and what I would think that would be is, if you don't put effort into this, if we have to hire someone, if we have to take away from the business,
right,
then the business is like out the gate gonna fall.
Right.
I just think the bad part was the business didn't succeed to actually backfill and do the thing.
Right. And you're exactly right, Shannon. She was smart as hell to go, nope, I'm doing this on my own.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mary was smart not to use family money to buy her ancestral home and turn it into a B&B. Then risk Cody having a hold over her when she left. Exactly. And if you notice, Christine done the same thing.
Yeah. And I think that's one of those decisions that should have probably, and I don't mean to say these kinds of things and be like, these are the things you should look out for in your relationship. I don't mean it that way. Exactly. Right. As much as I mean it in terms of when you start having to think like that, I think the problem's already here.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying you're ready to leave at that point. I'm just saying you already know that this is shaky ground to start with, and it ain't going to get better.
Right.
By using family money.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
that's. And again, but because in a different thing, I do think we all try to look for the moment. And I think retrospectively, yeah, maybe it was. Right. It may have been the moment the audience figured it all out, that like this is all going to go downhill and it's going up in flames. I don't think they knew. Because I think for the end of a lot of relationships, like hindsight, yeah, you could probably agree. But in the moment, I don't think anyone knows that's why they're doing it, is because ultimately this is what's going to happen. I think it's the realization that there's problems here. And I'm working around the immediate problem. Right. And it kind of contributes to the spiraling issue.
Right.
And then, yeah, at the end, it worked out great for her. But then how many other choices did she make along the way that she's like, damn, I shouldn't have done that?
Cody
that went the other way.
Flagstaff.
Exactly. Right. So, and again, it's kind of like it's the evolution part of, in all relationships are permanently evolving. And it is sometimes kind of minute by minute, day by day, week by week, that you're making choices based on making choices based on what's going on and your instincts.
Right.
And some of those are going to be really good choices that ultimately, if you break up, they'll be great. But what if they'd stayed together? Would that have been the best choice? Would that have been the best option? But and that's what I think we have a lot of like hindsight 2020 and go, oh, that's why she did that. She knew she was leaving. And it's like, yeah, I don't think she knew. She may have in that moment been like, this shit ain't working. And I'm going to get screwed if this is what I do. And so it's one good decision that when you see the final outcome, it's like, yep, that's when she knew. No. It was part of the constant evolution of the relationship. There were probably many junctures he could have turned this around.
And that is one scene I wish they had gotten on camera, is when the church elders called him to tell him that he is not getting any more wives. He can no longer marry in the church any more wives. And 2, that they had given Mary a release and was willing to give Janelle and Christina a release if they approached the church. That I would love to have seen on his face.
You know, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it would have been the reaction you would expect it to be. Because, I really don't think he thinks he does anything wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean? And again, I still say he's going to go off. And either find another offshoot or form one.
We'll see. All right. So we've talked about one asshole long enough. Let's see if you're the asshole this week.
All right. Am I the asshole for not replacing my roommate's broken iPad? My roommate and I are issued iPads at the college we attend, as all students are. The other day, several roommates were in the kitchen making dinner or finding food, and one had just entered the kitchen holding her iPad, watching a lecture video or something. I was about to pull a hot tray of food from the oven, so I loudly announced I was opening the oven and for everyone to watch out. The roommate next to me stepped out of the way, so I know there was plenty of time to react, but the roommate holding her iPad did not move. I backed into her when I stepped back to open the oven door, and she dropped her iPad on the ground. She did not have a case or screen protector on her iPad, and when she picked it up, the screen was cracked in a few places, but the iPad still worked fine. She immediately got mad at me for causing her to drop her iPad. I apologized, told her it was an accident, and asked if she heard me when I said I was opening the oven. She said she did, but I should have made sure there wasn't anyone in the way before I moved. She then demanded I replace her iPad because it was my fault. I told her it wasn't my fault. She should have watched out when I said to. She also didn't have a case or screen protector, which was irresponsible, and only the screen was broken, so there was no need to replace the entire iPad. I told her I would help with the cost of replacing the screen, but she insisted she needed a new one, and it was my responsibility to pay for it. I don't think buying a new one is necessary, and I don't think I was to blame. Am I the asshole? Where are you at with this one?
People aren't going to like it, but not the asshole.
I'm agreeing. I don't think you're the asshole. I think agreeing to pay for this, to help pay for the broken screen was as generous an offer as I think anyone could have made in the situation. I think he had every right to be like, next time, will you listen and move? Next time, will you understand that this whole walking around, watching lectures, and going into the kitchen while someone is cooking is probably not your best bet?
Right.
Like, maybe next time you'll understand why people pay for screen protectors and cases. Like, like you're I know this phrase gets a lot of cringe, but like, Opie's roommate, you are raw dogging life over here, and you just seem to think it's everyone's responsibility, but yours, that you get through it unscathed.
Well, see, and here's the thing, and this is like something you learned very early in the relationship. Get the fuck out of my kitchen. If I'm cooking, I have a galley line there. You can go anywhere else in the house. You can come into the kitchen. Stay out of my galley line. Or you get pointed at with knives.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate like trying to multitask.
Right.
I think also if you multitask, you also have to appreciate the world continues going on around you.
Right.
So you do have to be at least aware that you may be walking into something that you're not paying attention to.
Right.
And especially if you're being warned, like, I'm opening the oven. Where am I in relation to the oven? Do I need to move? Do I need to say, give me a second? You know what I mean? This seems like someone who's just so locked in on, like, it's just everyone's fault but mine.
Right.
It's just everyone else's responsibility to take care of me. And what? Move you out of the way?
Right.
Stop, burn dinner, and tell you need to move.
Right.
Really? That's what you like? And this is where I have a problem with this one, and trying to like see it from someone else's perspective is like, I'm trying to stand in the roommate's shoes and go, what did you expect? Like, what would have made this better? And it's like, for everyone to babysat you.
Right.
Is ultimately the only way this doesn't occur.
Right. Furthermore, he announced that
you're in college.
Yeah. Like, grow up. It's your fault. Keep a damn iPad out. Like, he comes into the kitchen with his iPad. He's getting sent out of the kitchen.
I mean, and while you're cooking, God knows it's going to end up a trivet. Yes. You're going to set something
or a dish.
Or yeah, it's going to get moved or knocked over or something. Like, yeah, I'm not really a big one, but dorm rooms are a little different. Or college apartments or whatever this is. Like, it's a weird space, and like, things happen. I'm not really knocking that part. It's just, have some awareness. Like, I understand you got to watch this lecture for class. Maybe that is what it is. But not to the, like, you can't, like, if you were carrying this laptop and you were trying to listen to this lecture on your way to class, do you think it would be reasonable if you walk out into moving traffic that everyone's supposed to know that you have to watch this lecture? So what's most important right now is not driving the car or operating within, road safety and all those things. It's just making sure that you get to class and hear your lecture. So are they supposed to get out of the car or help you across the street, guide you to the room? Like, what do you expect out of the world?
Right.
Like, and if someone hits their horn because you have walked out into the road and you're about to get hit by a car, are they responsible for you dropping your iPad?
Right.
Like, I'm trying to figure out a situation in which I could make this make sense.
Right. And you can't.
And it's like, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist at all. All right, so let's hop into Ask Gay Bros Over 30. The poll is up. Feel free to vote. We'll see who, if you're the asshole, if you get the asshole trophy tonight or not.
All right. So, yeah, what does a healthy relationship look like to you? So, this is in the 35-39 flare. Since my breakup from my relationship 7 months ago, I've been talking with my therapist about healthy relationships and what they could look like. In hindsight, many of my relationships have not been healthy. I'm curious what folks here think about relationships. What does a healthy relationship look like to you? And how have you brought the healthiest version of yourself into them? Whatever that looks like.
All right. You go first.
No, I think I want you to take this one first, too.
Okay. For me, a healthy relationship is two people that can operate within their world in overlapping circles, not on top of each other, but there's sections that they connect.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other sections they go do their own shit.
Yeah. I think there's a certain fairness to the overlapping circle analogy.
I like that, for me, a healthy relationship is a dude that remembers to text me in the mornings or text me in the evenings or text me whenever he's got time to go, hey, what's up? Someone that can just listen to me and give me feedback, not fix my problem, give me feedback on it. Able to have shared values. And when I say shared values, I'm not talking that you have the same bank account. That's not the value I'm talking about. I'm saying that, like, nah, it's wrong to not take care of a dog. It's wrong to ignore the cat. It's wrong to get, to act like an idiot. It's wrong to go speeding down the interstate at 90 miles an hour while smoking a cigarette and having a cell phone in your hand and shifting gears at the same time. Granted, at 90 and you're having to shift, that's a problem. Check your transmission, your clutch may be gone. But you get my point. Logical, sensible behaviors.
Here's where I think this sometimes becomes a problem, is trying to find the one panacea pill for what a healthy relationship is.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, there's supposed to just be one.
Right.
And it's like, it's not the ring,
right.
My precious. Like, it's not it. I think it's all, like, I think every healthy relationship is unique as a fingerprint. I think what we often see and what informs this idea is that all unhealthy relationships look exactly alike.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always too much.
Right.
It's overbearing, it's overprotective, it's overly controlling, it's manipulative, it is abusive, financially, emotionally, whatever. And so we think that since we can, take the parts of an unhealthy relationship and assign, some score to them, because you basically can't. Like, it's normally more than one, but it's never all of one.
Right.
It's some version, though, of those things that create the unhealthy relationship.
Right.
That ultimately what it becomes is it's kind of the Goldilocks zone.
Right.
Where it's not too little, it's not neglectful, it's also not too much, it's just right. Whatever that is. If because there are some instances in like, take our relationship for example, like, there's a lot of things in play here.
Right.
Like, and I know we talk about, like, your ADD a lot, or have, but that creates a if I treated you like someone who did not have ADD, it would be neglectful. It would be bad.
Right.
It would be an unhealthy relationship. I have to adjust for that. So one, I have to be able to adjust and adapt.
Right.
So I would say that that's one of the key ones for a healthy relationship, is adjusting and adapting to, like, your partner and the situations and the realities of each of your abilities. But I think everything else is kind of understanding the like where that Goldilocks zone is.
Right. But at the same time, it would be the same way. Like you're one track, if Joe's watching TV, Joe's watching TV. If Aeson's watching YouTube, he's also writing 2 articles in his head, or one on the keyboard and one in his head. He's doing dishes and laundry and working 4 networks, and he's in the middle of a party on Second Life. And when we first got
and Joe's standing in the corner with a knife going, turn one of these fuckers down.
Well, that's why I have earbuds in most times. Oh yeah, and I'm listening to two videos interchangeably on YouTube.
Yeah,
for me to get mad and go, "What the hell? I've got 15 things done here today, and I'm about ready to finish 2 others." It's that reversal of going
like we're doing different things.
Yeah,
we're not doing the same thing,
right?
And there are times I get more done than him.
Yeah.
Like it like trying to compare it without understanding. So understanding becomes the next pillar there of like what is reasonable, what makes sense here. And being able to communicate that and talk about it and see it from someone else's perspective,
right,
becomes very important. But again, I think we try to look for this like one magical, like, lay it out to me, explain it like I'm 5, and that's not how this works,
right?
Like, I can't guarantee what partner you have. I can tell you, like, well, okay, but it's accepting you're going to get it wrong.
Yeah.
And a willingness to try to get it right.
Right.
Not to be right.
Right.
But to try to get it right.
Right.
Those are 2 vastly different concepts. One is a source of eternal conflict that will cause you to fight each other relentlessly. The other is a cooperative experience where you're accepting that, like, we're imperfect people and we're going to fuck this shit up.
Right.
And then we fix it.
Right.
So I think those are the biggest ones for trying to bring your healthiest self to a relationship is adaptability, understanding, and cooperation.
Right.
Like, if you can pull those 3 off, everything else will work itself out.
Right.
But those seem to be the 3 things missing from every unhealthy relationship. I don't know a single unhealthy relationship that has any of the 3 working for it.
Right. And also having the balance, having the, like, leave me alone when I wake up. I need time to wake up. I need time to go to bed. Any of these are disturbed, I'm not going to bed, or I'm not waking up. One of the 2.
And that's unique to you. Other people, it's a totally different thing. And that's where I think that as long as you can bring those 3, everything else will work itself out. Yeah. Like, you have the environment for those things to work themselves out. If you don't have those 3, and I will swear to God, every unhealthy relationship is missing those 3 pieces. Or they are experiments in, let's do the least of this, or don't do it at all. Like, typically every bad unhealthy relationship is very rigid. Like, you expect this assembly line of perfection that you're always going to do the same thing relentlessly. And it's not healthy. You can't, like, I'm sorry. There is no one in the world that just wakes up for 50 years and just does the same thing every single day perfectly.
Right.
It's not going to happen. Like, you have to plan and adapt.
Right.
Like, you have to understand that.
Right.
If you don't, I can already tell you that's going to be an unhealthy relationship. You're going to have abuse.
Right. Very much so. All right. So the poll is in.
Mm-hmm.
You are not the asshole. You don't need to replace the iPad. You should leave it to this roommate.
All right.
All right. So with that, guys, we will see you on Tuesday at 8 p.m. on the Psychic Coffee Shop. And this episode is just me and Joe talking current psychic events. So with that, y'all, we'll talk later. Bye, y'all.
Let's get the beautiful bean footage.
All right.
So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Brenda, Joan Owen, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Caitlin Bell, Devin, and Bella. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com.
Yes. All right, guys. You have a great evening.
Bye.